Everyone, welcome to the second episode of Skooltalk. We're so excited to have you back. And today's guest is Massachusetts triple state champion in speech and debate, none other than Donovan Burke. Donovan,
Hello,
how are you?
Thank you for having me, Jacob. I appreciate it.
Great. So you just graduated high school, right?
Yep.
How's the experience of that?
It's been good. Definitely a stressful process with all the school stuff. Kind of been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But being done with high school is good. Make a lot of memories, but stick with people. Grad party season's been nice. Just, it's been a good time having a little break.
Let's talk about your experience in CM. I know you just finished it, but we'll rewind it back a little bit. What teacher do you think impacted you the most at Catholic Memorial?
I would definitely put brother on that list. He taught me, but also as a coach, he's been a great role model for me, especially. Mr. Julian is another one. I really liked Mr. Depew this year. I clicked with him. He was helpful with the whole college process, especially as someone who just came in and took on a big role. He was definitely good to me. I'm trying to think about other just teachers. I liked Miss Porter. I liked Miss Corsano as an English teacher. But I think more than anything, it was the kids in the classes more than the teachers that I really liked.
And regarding Mr. Depew helping you get into college, where are you going?
I'm going to Salve Regina in Newport, Rhode Island.
What made you choose Salve Regina?
Beautiful school. Actually, the only school that I toured. One day in the winter, my friend Connor Fougere came in and talked about how his cousin, or actually his uncle, goes there now, and how he likes it, and how Connor was talking about it. So I toured the school. I hit up the coach, and the rest is history. I really liked University of South Carolina, but I decided to go to Salve, do criminal justice, and play football.
Criminal justice. Do you think that connects to your speech and debate career and what you focused on in high school?
I wouldn't say as much connects to criminal justice, but a dream of mine is to be in the FBI for sure. So I think maybe my acting profile in a sense could help with like undercover, something like that in criminal justice. Whether that directly correlates to the FBI or not, I think speech is definitely just a confidence thing. Helps more conversation with people, better with my words. I think that could all help. With criminal justice stuff and talking to people, confrontation, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Let's just talk about some of the extracurriculars you did in high school. Let's talk about football first. Just summarize your football career over the last couple of years at CM.
I came to CM in the 7th grade, and first time ever playing football was here. I never played before. I knew I wanted to play. I always loved football, but my parents were always like, just wait till you get to middle school. Pop Warner's kind of a joke in my father's opinion, so we decided to just wait till we got here. CM football is a big thing. Coach Dibbs, we win, so it was in my nature to try and join football. And from the jump, I really liked it. 7th grade football was cut short due to COVID, but it was 4 games. It was good. I learned. I felt good. 8th grade was good. Middle school, I got called up to the freshman team in 8th grade. Had a great time, and then freshman to senior year, I was on varsity. I started this year as the starting center. Got hurt. But it was all right. I got back thanks to our athletic trainers, Jeff and Jill, and got to finish out my senior season. But 3 state championship rings, a lot of success. Wouldn't want to play on any other team.
What about Salve Regina's team? Are you planning to play on there?
Yeah, I'm planning to play there. I go for camp August 13th. I'm excited. Don't know where they'll put me. I assume maybe center because it's my natural position, but we'll see. Anywhere on the line, maybe tight end. I have some dreams, but we'll see where the coaches want to put me. But it's a successful team, successful coaching. I think I'll do very well there, and I'm excited.
Is it D3, D2?
It's a D3 school. They play in the MAC-10. Good competition. I think it's perfectly for my style, my level of play. I think I'm pretty prepared and ready to go.
You mentioned Coach Dibbs on the CM team. How did he impact you personally as a player, but also your character?
I think he's a great coach. There's a reason that he's so recognized in the state of Massachusetts. He knows how to win, but he also made a good connection with all his players. He works to try to know everybody's name. And he's a hard coach, but That's what football is, and you can't question a guy like that when he's done the winning that he's done. So I've appreciated everything he's done for me in terms of teaching and coaching, and I'm grateful that I came to the school and, that he gave me the opportunity to play.
That actually provides us with a smooth transition to your other coach, brother Anthony K. Cavett. How would you say that he impacted your life? He was also our last guest on Skooltalk.
I think he's definitely an important figure in my life, somebody who's definitely shaped who I am up, short-term life. I have a lot of life to live, but he's definitely been an important factor. Great coach, always very lenient with me missing, kind of half of the start of the speech and debate season in a sense. He's always very lenient. He knows that for me, football came first and speech was second, but it was towards, I got longer into my, high school career. They both evened out. I saw both as equals. I loved both the forensics world and football, and it was nice. And, him as just a person, he's very loving. He has infinite knowledge. He's one of, as me and Parker say, one of the smartest people we know. But yeah, he's been a great influence on my life. I couldn't, ask for a better coach in either sport.
So your balance between football and speech, can you describe that in a little more detail?
I would say it was difficult, but it was nice that they were in two different seasons. Football wraps up, and then I immediately got into speech, which was nice. It was like one half is football, and I was able to just completely focus on football. And then the other half was speech, and I got to heavily focus on speech with the only football requirements being like lifting and workouts, and I would just go to those till like 4:30, 5 o'clock, then come here. Definitely had some late nights, but it was all worth it because, a lot of winning, a lot of success, a lot of national trips. So wouldn't change my decisions for the world.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Let's transition to talking about your speech and debate career. So you were a triple state champion, right?
That is correct.
And what events did you do?
My freshman year, I did declamation and I think children's literature, something of that nature. Sophomore year, I did declamation, children's literature, and duo, and I finaled at states in all three. And then I won in duo with Pom Pom Boys and won in declamation with 52 Cards by Ray Lewis. Junior year, I did duo, DI, and prose, which I liked all my pieces. My duo was The Interview by Peter Sweat, and my DI was, I forget the name of the piece, but it was a good piece. And then same with my prose. And then this year, I did a duo, a children's literature, and a prose.
Yeah, let's talk about your state championship deck, 52 Cards.
Yes, by Ray Lewis.
Can you tell us what it's about?
Ray Lewis was in a rough spot in his childhood. He saw his mother physically and mentally abused by multiple men. So that's just his story about talking how he turned that experience into discipline and how a deck of 52 cards changed kind of his lifestyle. He used it as a way to work out, and then when he made it to the NFL, he picked 52, and it was an easy switch. And it's emotional, but it's a motivating thing to tell people, like, keep pushing and keep fighting, and people seem to like it.
How did the piece do overall in the year before states, like in some of the other tournaments you went to?
I don't think I ever won my sophomore year, other than at states. Parker Kempf was the favorite that year, and sadly he never made it to the finals with that. He didn't even make it, which was ridiculous. But I knew that if he didn't make it, then someone from CM had to win. So I stepped it up, and I feel like I owned the room for that one. Felt really good after I left. And so all my success came in the state tournament.
So that seems like a very serious piece when it comes to topic. Let's talk about your other winning piece that year, Pom Pom Boys.
Yeah, Pom Pom Boys was a blast. My duo partner, Jack Holland, who now goes to UMass, was awesome. We knew each other from football. We always got along, but that piece really grew our bond and our friendship. That year was so fun. I had such a good time because there was no worry about the piece. We had no expectation to win. We kind of just put together a fun performance, and the piece is about two football players, ironically, who are put on the cheer team because they were making fun of the cheerleaders, and it kind of goes through that process of them learning how to do cheer and then their final routine, and it was it was a great time. It was so much fun. I'm glad I did it, and I'll always love that piece.
So you and Jack Holland were both football players.
Correct.
What was the experience of being male cheerleaders on a football team in that piece, and then that being real football players?
Yeah, it was a cool transition. It was also nice because, I mean, in the speech world, there aren't very many like football player types. So it was funny to be like two bigger guys that stand up in front and then kind of do like cheer dances and like shake fake pom poms in the air and stuff like that. So it was a cool dynamic, and it was definitely something that I enjoyed, and I think the audience enjoyed as well.
Which piece do you think was better that year?
In between 52 Cards and Pom Pom Boys. I still love 52 Cards. That's my dad's favorite performance he's ever seen of mine to date. So I'll go with 52 Cards. But in terms of working with someone, that piece made me fall in love with duo, and the idea of getting to work with someone and really making a performance that people can truly like laugh at and enjoy.
So that tournament was at CM that year, yes?
Correct.
You walk out of your declamation round. What is like your first initial feelings and your expectations for awards that day?
I was like, I killed it. I had a really, really good feeling. I mean, never say you won, knock on wood, because you never truly know in speech. But I knew by the way that the audience reacted, as well as the judges, that they were engaged. They felt what I was saying personally, and they really liked what I did. So I was like, yeah, I killed it. But right after that, I had to go to duo and do a good performance there. So I was pumped, I was ready, and then I locked in and got duo done as well, which was great.
What are your feelings walking out of the duo room that year?
I had no real expectation. We had 3 CM duos, from what I remember, in that final, and I knew that, and I think we had 3. It was either 3 or 4, but I knew that the 2 duos ahead of mine, 2 senior duos, were very, very good. I mean, they had been working hard all year. So I had no real expectation. It was also difficult because those 2 performances that they did were more of a sad emotion, while ours was more of like a funny, like laughing emotion. So we didn't really know, and I hadn't really been in a duo competition like that. So I was kind of just, I knew we did a good job. I knew we had, a nice stage and audience engagement, and just hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. So you're at awards. You win the first state championship trophy. Do you remember which one?
I believe in the lettering system, declamation comes first.
So you get your trophy.
Well, actually, sorry to interrupt. Children's literature came first, and I got 3rd in children's literature, which was awesome. Then declamation came.
Let's go for your thought process after every step at awards. You get 3rd at children's literature. What are you thinking?
Felt good, loved my piece. It was The Witches. It was a wonderful piece. Andrew McDonald did it this year. I felt great. When I triple finaled, I was pumped, and then to be up there as a sophomore and get 3rd at states, I felt huge. I'd never been there before, so I was like, yeah, this is great. I feel awesome.
Okay, so I'm guessing declamation is next?
Declamation came next. I won declamation, and that was the one where I was the most confident in. I had a great feeling. People were reading off names, and I was like, yeah, it's not me, no Catholic Memorial. 2nd place, not Catholic Memorial. I was like, great, I won first. I was hype. I threw my hand in the air. I was like, let's go. And the team was very grateful, very hype in that back left or right corner, and that felt great. So I really felt like I was hyping up the team, and people were excited.
Mm-hmm. And then you go to the duo stage.
Yeah.
Before they even announce the awards. What are your feelings? What do you think are Jack's feelings?
My feelings were great. I had won a state championship, and I had gotten 3rd. I was pumped. I had good expectations because I knew me and Jack worked hard. Speaking on Jack's experience, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure he was happy to be up there. This was earlier in his career. He hadn't really done much speech, but we had definitely worked hard, and we were both happy with whatever the outcome was because we knew we had a great time performing.
Okay, you get your trophy. A bunch of names are calling, like you're stressed inside. Mm-hmm. You get the 1st place trophy. What's your thoughts towards being a double state champion as a sophomore?
Me and Holland just looked at each other, and we were kind of like, wow. Like we definitely hugged, and we were hype, and got our trophies, and it was such a great feeling, especially to do it at CM. It was definitely something definitely a high that I try and recreate whenever I do any sort of competition. But it was a great feeling. All the work I had done had paid off, and I was very grateful for Jack. I mean, he did it as much as I did. We were in it together. He was definitely happy, and it was a wonderful feeling to be a state champion again.
What did brothers say to you?
Brother and Mr. Julian were, very grateful. I mean, I was more of celebrating with the team, but after, I shook brother's hand. I said, thank you. You've done a lot of good work with us, and he was as proud of us as we were as proud of ourselves.
And what did your dad or your family tell you when you came home that night?
I think my family was ecstatic. I mean, this was really before I had fully gotten into it. I had gone to one national tournament in declamation. And
Villiger, right?
No, I had gone to the NCFLs in declamation my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I was en route to go in duo. But my family, hadn't seen that high level of success. And I told them that I was, going to the state tournament. And they were like, well, good luck, good job. Proud of you. And then I came home with state championships, and they were, very ecstatic. And that's where it really clicked with them that, this was something that I was serious about and very happy to do and enjoyed myself. And they've supported me the entire way.
And you were going to nationals that year after the state tournament?
Correct.
How did that go?
I think we were quarterfinalists. We were top 24 in the nation. I think we were right on the brink of making it to semis, something like that. We were right there. But the piece was hysterical. We did very well in front of big audiences, so I think that benefited us. But I felt great. I was very happy with our performance.
That's wonderful to hear. Let's transition to the year after that. So you now have a reputation on the team as a double state champion. After football season, what's starting speech for that third year like?
It felt good. I mean, we had been coming off of a state champion, but the biggest difficulty was finding another, state champion level performance. So we went through Brother's drawer, and anybody who watches this, if they ever get the opportunity to ask him, me and Holland were quite picky. We didn't like a lot of the stuff, and we were trying to reminisce on what we had done and find something that was similar. And then we kind of realized at the national tournament that we kind of had to go into a different genre. We maybe had to get a little bit more sad because it's hard for funny pieces to win if they aren't, very well done and actually very, very funny. So we decided to do The Interview by Peter Sweat. Took a little while to get there, but we felt good about it. We were happy, and we moved on. And then I chose a little later on my piece, my DI, which felt good. And then later on in the year, I picked a prose.
Let's talk about The Interview. What is The Interview about as a piece?
The Interview is about an Irish, I think it's been a little while, but he was coming to this Jewish man's house, old Jewish man's house, over some sort of loan or something like that. And, he knocks on the door, and they go through the process of, what the old Jewish man had experienced. He'd been in the Holocaust, so talks about the man, losing his children, losing his wife, and how he's kind of just been alone in, his house for a very long time. And you kind of go through that process, and the audience, starts to feel bad for him. We show the scenes, or we act out and perform the scenes of, his experiences at the Holocaust. And then we kind of wrap it all up with, him being very sad and, just, reminiscing on the bad things that happened.
What do you think the audience reaction for most performances of that piece was throughout the year?
We definitely had a few people cry. One of our judges wrote, I was extremely emotional through this. Same with some audience members. I always feel like, the performances that I do put a lot of effort in, so tends to make people, quite emotional, and, they like to watch the performance, and they enjoy it. And then that went on to win states, so that was obviously nice to feel as well.
And since this is Catholic Memorial and neither of you two are Jewish, how did the intersection of cultures for that piece feel like doing? What do you think you learned?
It wasn't as much like we're not Jewish, we can't do this piece type of thing. It was more of like this is a story that's worth telling people about, and it's a good performance, it's well written, and then we kind of correlated that, and everybody is familiar with the Holocaust, and what happened there. So, people weren't, like, oh, what is this? Like, they knew what was going on. So it was good. And I wouldn't say it was as much like, oh, we're Catholic and the piece is Jewish. We kind of just wanted to, perform a well-written piece, and that was connected with it, and we had no problem, talking about that.
That's very inspirational. But you had another piece about the Holocaust or Jewish topics, right?
We did, correct. It's, I guess it's a trend in Brother Cavitt's cabinet over there.
What's the title of that piece?
This year's piece is Circumference of a Squirrel.
So what's the circumference of a squirrel?
John Walsh. Well, the piece is a 60-page book that makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. So we had to pick and choose, what we wanted to bring in, what we wanted to cut, what we tried to make the piece, and we ended up making the analogy that Chester's father, the character which I play, is extremely anti-Semitic, and that is played through him being bitten by a squirrel and getting rabies, and the rabies is the analogy for anti-Semitism, and the squirrel is an analogy for the Jewish population and how the father hates squirrels and things of that nature. And Parker plays my son, whose name is CJ, or Chester, who was kind of mentally and physically abused by his father and taught to hate Jewish people and hate squirrels because the father was bitten by a squirrel. And it's kind of a full circle about how the father ruins the son's relationship with his Jewish wife, and how the son is mentally tormented by the father, and then the father eventually dies, and the son breaks the cycle of anti-Semitic hate and is able to recover from that and move on in his life.
So you changed partners after Jack Holland graduated.
Correct.
What made you choose Parker, and how was the experience of doing duo with someone else after 2 years of experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. I love Jack. Our dynamic as partners is definitely different than the dynamic of me and Parker. But I roomed with Parker my freshman year at Nationals. We both did declamation, and we got along. We'd gotten along a lot. It's different with a duo partner. You don't talk to other people as much as you do your duo partner. So I was much closer with Jack than I was with anyone else. And it was definitely sad when Jack left, but it was the inevitable considering he was a year older than me, and we both knew that. I definitely knew I wanted to stick with duo. I always saw duo as something that made speech tolerable. I couldn't go through an entire speech tournament by myself. So I needed to have somebody with me, and with the success of duo, I knew that I needed to stick with it. So that was a nice thing to have. And so I picked Parker because we got along, and he was also, one of our top performers. He did well nationally his sophomore year in declamation. He did well in state all the time, and he'd been looking to do a duo. We'd thought of the idea of doing a duo before I found Jack. So it was definitely something that I knew was coming, and it was just the same process with Jack of finding a piece that we both liked.
What were your options for the piece besides Circumference of a Squirrel?
I wouldn't even say there was options, really. I mean, we read through some stuff, but it was like either you like it or you don't. If you like it, you do it. If you don't like it, you move on. It's not really like a put out all the cards and, pick one. It was kind of just like you read through, and once you find something you like, that's the one that you do.
So you get this 60-page book, Circumference of a Squirrel, which doesn't make sense, right?
Yes, correct.
How do you turn that into a 10-minute script?
Well, we had someone named Patrick Blomberg.
Can you tell us who that is?
Well, he's a national champion in declamation. He's a very, very good performer. Someone that everybody on the team knows. Definitely a good role model in terms of winning. And he did Circumference of a Squirrel and created a piece. And we moved a little bit from that, but the difference was he did it as a DI, which is what it's originally written as, dramatic interpretation. So we had.
It was written for speech?
No, it was just written written as more of a DI. It doesn't really work as a duo, or so people thought. So we had to create the father character, make it make sense. At the start, it was pretty bumpy. I didn't really have a lot of lines. We kind of had to work through stuff, and eventually we created more characters, like put the squirrel in the piece, had a deeper voice, That was kind of the essence of anti-Semitism in the piece. And we've now found a way where, I have a pretty decent, like 30 to 40% word rate in the piece. Parker is still the main character. He's the son. It's his story. But we found a way to try and make it a lot more of a duo than it once was.
And there's controversy regarding this piece in some local tournaments and judges you've had. Can you tell us, first of all, why you think there's some controversy with the piece?
It's definitely a lot to handle, and just as a watcher, it's a lot to take on, and there's definitely some lines in there that are like, wow, that's a lot at once. But we give content warnings. We like people to know what's coming, especially because it can be seen as offensive and stuff like that. And this is Massachusetts, so. And then we did have a judge that didn't like it because they thought that we weren't taking the piece seriously. And I can see, how that's possible. Two boys from Catholic Memorial doing a Jewish piece, it's understandable. But we decided that we should, explain a little bit more about, the seriousness of the matter of anti-Semitism, even in the world today. And I think it was a good thing that she gave us that comment, because it made us realize how much more we needed to add to make people really realize that we were serious about what's going on, and we want to bring a showing to what's going on in the world.
That's very interesting to hear. What do you think this controversy about the piece reveals about freedom of speech and debate and the future of the program in that regard?
I think the MSDL definitely thinks about freedom of speech heavily. Sometimes it's hard to enforce freedom of speech because as a judge, you are given the ability to judge off of your opinion, and some people find it difficult to split their opinion from the performance, and that's a natural thing. Sometimes you choose things over what you think rather than what was better, and I mean that's a natural thing, which is why something like OO is difficult, because if you write something opinionated, it's difficult to make both sides of that opinion happy. So it's definitely difficult, and you're going to run into people who don't, who disagree. But you just have to hope that those people put their opinions aside and watch the performance and see, if it's better than the other performances.
Do you think there should be more accountability on how freedom of speech is protected in the MSDL, the NSDA, and other major tournaments? And if so, how do you think that should be accomplished?
Well, I think freedom of speech goes both ways. So there is no way to hold people accountable for freedom of speech, because if you tell someone that you need to allow that duo to have freedom of speech and you can't give your opinion, that takes away their freedom of speech. So as comments work and things like that, it's difficult to patrol freedom of speech. So either you go full in on freedom of speech and let everyone say what they want, or you don't allow it at all. So I would definitely pick option one. I think having judges who are opinionated is part of it, and speech is always luck. Sometimes you kind of just have to get the luck of the draw and hope for the best. So I think accountability and monitoring what people say is kind of silly. I mean, you give a judge the option to give their opinion, and they're bound to say whatever they'd like.
And let's talk about what this piece has achieved with you and Parker's performances. What would you say is Circumference of a Squirrel's biggest win?
I would say Harvard was big. We went to the Harvard National Tournament. We got 8th at Harvard, which was nice because I had never gone to Harvard, and me and Parker didn't really know how this performance would do nationally. So it was nice to see, some success. In terms of in-state, it was difficult. We got 5th at states, which was kind of rough, but you kind of understand why. I mean, I have nothing to complain about. I've had plenty of success in duo. I felt bad, because I told Parker I would win a state championship with him, and it sucks to be a 2-time Massachusetts state champion in duo and then not win it in your senior year when you're most expected to. So, that was rough, but like I said, it's an opinion thing. There were definitely some good duos. 2 CM duos beat us in the Massachusetts state final, which was perfectly fine with me. It's more CM winning, and I had done plenty of winning myself, so I wasn't too upset about it. I more or less felt bad for Parker. And then at NCFLs, we did well. We got 9th, which was good. Felt good preparing for NSDAs. We've done some recutting, some reworking, trying to make our piece similar to others while also different. to try and get up on that final stage for the first time in a while for a CM competitor.
Yeah, so NSDAs is going to be your last tournament of your
Correct.
career. What is yours and Parker's thoughts coming into that tournament, especially after the success at NCFLs?
I feel good. We've been doing a lot of good work. We've definitely been, recutting things and working on memorization of the new stuff. A lot of work's been put into it over the years. We've been putting a lot of effort, long nights every day. We're here relatively often. Brother Cavett said it to us, we didn't do the thing that most seniors do where we're like, whatever, I'm done. It's like, I would if I didn't enjoy it. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't come here. But I like it. It's a nice change of scenery. I enjoy the aspect of acting and, people watching the performance and being like, oh, you guys did such a good job, and like truly enjoying what we're putting out there. So that's why I come in every day and put in effort. But, the last tournament, it happens. It's not really something that you can be like, oh, I wish I went back. I'm glad high school's over and had to end eventually. I've had tons of fun with these groups of people that we go with on trips. It's been a lot of fun. It'll be sad, but I hope that we walk away as national champions.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you could give the audience maybe 30 seconds from your piece that you do as a monologue? Or
I would, but I don't. I don't have 30 seconds of monologue in the piece, to be completely honest. I could do, a short explanation, but I feel like I've already done that. I think it's a good piece. It gives an idea of anti-Semitism and how it affects people everywhere, more than just the people who are anti-Semitic themselves, but their loved ones, the people who, Jewish people who are facing the anti-Semitism. So I think it's definitely something important to watch, and hopefully it can be posted on the NSDA website for all people to watch when we final.
Yeah, the audience that's going to the NSDAs expect to see Mr. Burke and Parker on the national stage, and even if you're not there, you can always watch the video once they final.
That's the hope.
So since we've talked about your 4 pieces, let's just round about your speech and debate career. Right now, who are some of the people besides Parker or the competitors on the team who you think influenced you this year heavily?
Like off the team, like not even coaches?
No, like people on the team that you competed with, you traveled with.
Oh, okay. Kalibas are great. They're fun to travel with. We went to Durham with John Tobin, with Parker. It's been fun. It's been a good time. Jackson. It's more of a friend type of thing. When you go on those long trips with people, you build bonds with people, and you enjoy their company. In terms of getting better, Jackson's watched us a few times, and he's been helpful. We have other people coming in who have been on the team before that'll watch us. I think everybody has a good influence. You watch and you say, yeah, that's a good job, but you could work on this. I've done that with you. I've done that with a few people. The higher up you get and the more you get into speech, you try and help the younger people who haven't seen what you've seen or haven't performed what you've performed.
You would say these 4 pieces that we talked about are the main pieces of your speech and debate career?
Yeah, I definitely think those have had the biggest effect on me. I think 52 cards is definitely a favorite, but then the 3 duos that I've done have been huge, and I'm very grateful for all the pieces that I've done, but I think those 4 definitely shape my career, I guess you could say.
If you could redo a piece, or more so, which piece was the most impactful for you, which would you choose of the 4?
Redoing a piece with the knowledge I have now, I do Pom Pom Boys, just because we could do so much moving around with that, and it's funny, so it's nice, and people like a little break from all the sad in speech to make people laugh. But I think I've put all my effort and all I could into these performances, so there's no real regrets I have. So I think if anything, I'd just go back to the piece that I did, the longest ago that I could still do, which is the duo Pom Pom Boys.
If you could do another event which would be completely different from what you did in your career, what do you think you would choose?
I've always wanted to write an OO, but sadly I haven't had anything tragic go on in my life to talk about in OO, and I think the biggest problem with OO is things that are opinionated. You have to, if you don't have anything tragic to talk about, then you have to talk about an opinion, and people disagree with opinions. So I have a few things that I could have talked about, never got around to it. I would have done it this year if I had infinite time, but I put a lot of effort into duo. I didn't even do a DI this year, so I decided to just go full in on duo and hope for the best. And so far, that's been working out pretty nicely. Hopefully, have some good success at NSDAs. But yeah, I'd say that.
That's wonderful to hear. Would you have any interest coming back in coaching at CM or another institution?
I wouldn't become a full-time coach. I have, not saying that anybody who does, doesn't have bigger plans, but I wouldn't. Maybe if I was interested in becoming a teacher, I would then come back and help the team. But I don't really have an interest in, teaching. I'm more of like I said early on in the interview, FBI, criminal justice stuff. But I'm sure Mr. Julian will text me at some point and say, hey, alumni practice, and that I'd love to come in. I love watching and helping, and once you do it for as long as I've done it, it's kind of hard to push it away. And we've had someone come back recently, Mr. Sanders, who has started doing it, and he's talked to the coaches about how much he enjoys doing it. He finds it interesting to come back and coach. So I think I'd definitely come back and help with practices, but I don't see myself becoming a full-time head coach.
That's wonderful to hear. If you had any advice for any new competitors in the MSDL or across the U.S., what would it be?
I'd say it's a confidence thing. In 6th grade, I won an oratory contest at my elementary school. So I knew from the jump that I was a pretty decent public speaker, and that that was something that I enjoyed. And then my freshman year on freshman B basketball, I wasn't the basketball player I thought I was going to be. So Mr. K told me that I should try speech. And I was like, well, I've been thinking about it. I had gone through, the Eberly Chronicles in the middle school. So she does a lot of public speaking stuff, and I was always good at that, got good grades on that. So I said, screw it, I'll go do speech. And then the more and more I did it and the more effort I put in, I really enjoyed it. So I'd say just get past the hump. If you don't have success, that doesn't define you. Everybody has their own, goals. I thankfully could make goals of, becoming a state champion, hopefully, doing well at nationals, becoming a national champion, because I had seen success. But if you don't see success, that doesn't mean you should necessarily quit. Everyone gets their own thing from speech. So, if you're a poor public speaker and you want to get better, it isn't always about getting the one in a round. It could be just, be proud of yourself that you went up there and you memorized the piece and you performed it in front of competitors and judges. And whether you get the 6, the 5, or the 2 or the 1, you can personally feel good about how you did. And then the more preparation and commitment you put into, hopefully, the results are positive.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. And just a last question. If you had to give a quote which defined your speech and debate career, your football career, or just anything you did in regards to education, what do you think it would be?
A quote is hard. It's difficult to think of. Brother Cavett had an easy one. The words of your coach. He's been around for forever. So at my young age, I don't think I have anything that personally, defines anything in one word. But I'd say something similar to keep at it. Don't give up. If something's rough, keep at it, keep trying. I like to see myself as a realist. So if you really look at something and sit down and say, oh, well, this isn't for me, and as much effort as I put in, I won't get the result, then you don't have to. But keep trying. Don't let yourself give up quickly. It's an effort thing most of the time, and if you put in a lot of effort, if you don't see the success, at least someone most of the time, whether it's in speech or sport, will see that you're trying and you're putting in effort. So that's what I would say. Just keep at it.
Thank you so much for this great interview.
Of course. Thank you, Jacob.
Skooltalk audience, both me, Jacob Dabrowski, and Donovan Burke will be at NSDA Nationals. So if you see either of us, don't be afraid and say hello. And the 3rd episode will be out very soon. Thank you so much.